Welcome back to K24 this morning. Tuesday it is. We talk about your money, finances, of course, as well. And I'm joined by a very interesting panel here talking about the trends to watch out for in 2020 as far as business is concerned. I do have Mr. Houston Mulande, an entrepreneur, Frida from Passion Profit, and also I have Mr. Muthoga here with us, an economist. And I asked you, what trends should we look for in 2020? And as we get to see what exactly you guys are thinking about, we have a caller on the line. Good morning. Hello. Habari yako kaka?
Mzuri sana, hujambo wewe?
Mimi niko salama Shem.
Yeah.
Aha, niambie, what business trends are trending in 2020?
Listen, nilikuwa tunakaa hapa nikiangalia hiyo TV station yenu. Na nikastaajabu kuona ya kwamba kuna mafikara tunafikiria mbalimbali, the way things might be standing up.
Exactly.
And I'm going to be very, very honest and sincere to all of us here.
Please do.
Giving up is the worst thing for a man to do.
Okay.
And this is so because there's pressure and oppression and corruption, it does not give us a ticket to give up.
Okay.
In a normal society, I've been in the U.S. for the last 36 years. I went there as a student.
Okay.
A black student, a foreigner, and a man.
All right.
These are the most prejudiced systems that can be set on any normal mind.
Okay.
A black man, a foreigner with an accent, you have not a way to break in.
Yes.
But I accepted the challenges that stood in because I didn't have any other way to succeed. I started doing a business which many people called babysitting. I started with the 4 kids being babysat in my presence.
Okay.
Today, I'm running 4 big major schools in the U.S.
Amazing.
I went there without any capital. By the time I landed at JFK Airport, I had $20.50 in my pocket. What I'm trying to bring here is that the system in the U.S. and the many other developing countries is not dependent on what the government does for us.
Thank you, Shem.
It's dependent on what we can do to change that system.
Asante sana.
You hire people by creating jobs.
Yes.
Jobs, most of us, and especially here at home in Kenya, we believe that we go into business to succeed within the first 1, 2, 3, 4 years.
Okay.
There's no business you are going to succeed in less than 5 years. You have to be beat up by the system for over 5 years.
Okay.
If we give up and expect to be employed, then we are in trouble.
All right, Shem. Thank you very much.
If we expect, let me wind up.
Okay,
if we expect that our parents will give us a hope to win from, we are not going to win. We are going to lose just like our parents. There is enough in this country. If we struggle enough, we can win against even corruption. Corruption will not stop you from winning in your business ventures.
Amen to that, Shem. Asante tena sana.
Thank you, sir.
For me, that is something I can take home to the bank anytime. Maybe for you, before we get to you, there's another caller. Hello? All right, amekata simu yo. He has said something very interesting about us not giving up and the fact that even if the system is bad, broken, or whatever word you want to use for it, things are still looking good and you can still do stuff. I don't know. What do you have to say about what Shem has said?
I agree with him in terms of you ought to have a certain tenacity just as a human being because life is hard, generally speaking. Whether you are employed, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are a student, especially in Kenya, it's like for you to survive, life is hard. So if you are a soft individual who needs a shoulder to cry on every time that things are difficult, you will end up at the bottom of the pile every single time. And it will get to a point where people are not able to keep up with you. Not everyone will be there for you all the time if you are weak in that sense. I agree with him that you have to work hard. And So I agree with him on multiple fronts. However, it is totally a lie to say that it is not dependent on the government. America is what it is because it is the land of opportunity. It is because of the way their government is set up. It's because of the way their taxation works, the way business is incentivized, the way infrastructure has been built. All of those things contribute to an environment where you can get in there and dream, and even though people will judge you because you're a black man with an accent, so long as your product is good, they'll buy it. Who will buy your 10,000 shilling shoe right now in Kenya? The economic setup just isn't there yet, and it's largely to be blamed upon the way we do policy in this country, the way we do politics, the way our economics are done. It is all encompassing. So I'm not speaking about an individual who's a student who's gone to university. It's the university, I mean, it's the government and the parents that have paid for their education, and then now they sit and ask their dad for a job. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm talking about the macro level of the way the country is run, the way education is done, the way politics is done. That has to change if we're going to see vast effects happening on the lower ranks.
All right.
So we agree on some fronts, we disagree on significant points.
Okay.
You see, you have to do something. And I'm glad that the question has now come directly. It's like, okay, so what then should you do? If you can look for a job and you have a chance of getting a job, by all means, get it. And it's not easy. Typically, people do 50 to 100 applications for jobs to actually land, and this is with qualification. So, and our generation doesn't really know what tarmacking is, because like we just send CVs on email. Sometimes there's even platforms that do the sending for you to multiple places. Guys used to plan to walk along Uhuru Highway all the way to the airport, walking into any office they can get into. So that level of tenacity is not present with our generation, and we need to just be serious. If you're applying for a job, even with credentials, it will take time before you land one. So apply for a job if you can. If that's not an option, or if you had a job and you lost the job, then you have to do something with your brain or with your hands. And you see, so for example, I'm a Christian, so I take offense with someone saying evangelism is the way to make money. Those are false preachers. Most of the true churches are very small because they tell you the hard truth. They're not there to psychologically prepare you for Monday. They tell you the facts, they tell you the reality of sin, they tell you the reality of all of those things and how you're to live your life. So the people that are making money preaching are not necessarily right. But that's beside the point. What can you do? Don't try to be an evangelist. What you should do is, so for example, Psalm chapter 90 says, establish the work of our hands. So you know that you can work 100% and still not be successful, but you are in that psalm, in that prayer, you're saying, God, look at what I'm doing. It's all I can do. Establish the work of my life. Look at what I'm doing. I'm not lazy. I'm not sleeping. I'm not on the street trying to beg. I'm literally doing what I can with what I have. So you bless it. And I believe God is actually faithful. And it may not look like what you wanted, like a white-collar job. And this is a major point. Right now, there's a lot of people who have secure jobs, and they are willing to pay people who do blue-collar jobs professionally. So the plumber who shows up with a proper toolkit and is courteous and knows not to dirtify the kitchen while they're there, the carpenter, the person that mounts a TV, the person that fixes your electrical issues. There's actually a huge opportunity there for people who have hands-on skills, but who have an education to the point that you can walk into a house in Runda and the person doesn't have to monitor you the whole time that you're there.
So that's integrity, basically.
That's a major thing that's available to do.
Now that we've mentioned actual jobs, plumber, carpenter, and whatever, what other things do you think Kenyans need to get into right now, regardless of your education, whether you did biotechnology, whether you did journalism, whether you did, I don't know, engineering? What things do you see and you can tell someone, you know what, can you try selling sukuma wiki?
I want to say farming. I want to say farming because the food security issue, and then every time there's rain, we hear people complaining, oh, the price was not right, oh, milk was being poured, oh, this and the other. We hear all these kinds of scenarios. Sometimes there's more food on one side of the country and less food on the other side. I also find that as a nation, we have multiple shifts to make, because sitting waiting for Mama Mboga to bring Mboga in Nairobi, maybe we need to get out of Nairobi also and figure out wherever
What
the
else?
food is, how can I take this food from one corner to the other corner of the country? Because of devolution, there are opportunities to do things in counties, but you find that we are still very dependent on Nairobi. So I think the agriculture, figuring out not necessarily how to plant. If you are not the green hands, you don't like the matope kind of person, but how can you do value addition? All right. How can we start making our own tomato paste? How can we start making more juices and stuff like that? I think we need more people in that kind of space, because just like we're talking during the break, a lot of businesses that come up are copycat businesses. And that's why we take people through a process to generate what we call bankable business ideas, then a bankable business plan, an idea that will outlive you, an idea that will create a business that is scalable. We don't have enough of those because we are desperate and we want money quickly, and we can't blame people for that, because also the guy Shem said that we want to start a business today and we want the money tomorrow. We don't really blame people for that, because I'm starting the business to put food on my table. So I think if you're going to go for the business option, you really need to be willing to stick it out, but you also need to be willing to think through, riding on what Abraham said earlier, that the 95% of businesses that are dying, we need to dig deeper and find out why they're dying. Because business it's not a walk in the park, all right? So as you're starting the business, what do you intend to do before this business makes you money, all right? And you don't have to start business alone. I think also another thing that we'll need to learn as a country is the cooperative. We have the cooperative society infrastructure and all that, but we don't do it enough as businesses. Because you see, here is the farmers that do the cooperative. Abroad, there is cooperative of business people, service professionals coming together, pooling their skills together so that they can serve. So you see, when we are more, my little money, your little money together is more.
We can serve a bigger audience.
We can serve a bigger audience. So apart from really getting an idea that is bankable, that is scalable, how can I do it with others? We need to get more into, because we are always scared of Abraham will copy me, Houston will copy me. So
to chime into the agricultural, even from a biblical standpoint, Ecclesiastes doesn't say a lot of good things about leaders, but one of the things it says is, of profit to a people in every way is a king committed to cultivated fields.
A king who does what?
A king who's committed to cultivated fields.
Okay.
And you see, it goes now even beyond just you doing the venture yourself, is that this has to be supported from the highest levels. And it's very sad that there's a lot of demand globally for many of the foods that we grow here.
And actually,
avocados and all of those things.
Yeah, Abraham mentioned that agriculture is what, 80% of the whatever. 80%. So if everyone now gets into agriculture, sisi wengine hii 20% ingine itabaki tu hivyo bila watu.
Why everyone do it? But anyway, Abraham answer.
It's because I'm sure everyone here comes from an ushago of sorts.
Everybody, Kwanzaa, we all have ushago. That's
exactly. So if I decide to go back and, because my grandmother is old, and they're not using that shamba as it should be. See, me need to watch and yanze kugrow mahindi alafu niuze Nairobi.
You see I think about 6-7 months, the government launched a master plan. I think it's almost a 10-year plan to try and now improve the household, the income level at the household level for the agricultural people who produce agriculture. And the idea here is that if we can sort out our agriculture and the value chain, because see, we lose a lot of food between. Let's say we produce more food than we can consume at production.
But guys are dying in Turkana.
Yes, that's number one. But the problem is between production, harvesting, storing, transporting, by the time it gets to the end, it is less than what we need. So for me, even our food problem is me, I don't think it's a production problem. It's a logistic problem. That's why if you're saying there's food on one end and there's no food on the other end. And this country is not big. So the thing we need to address, if we can sort out value addition, because see, look at all our agricultural products. We send them abroad primary. We send our coffee, tea, pyrethrum, now avocado.
Nuts.
Yes, they all. You imagine today if we told Nescafe, for example, come and set up your plant here. So we produce, because Nescafe, we still consume Nescafe in our homes.
Yeah.
But it has gone on a ship and come back on a plane, and now we are consuming it. And the thing grew up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are some of the things. If you have that value addition, and you see, when you have value addition, it means even the guys who went to school didn't learn educate. They didn't learn agriculture, but will contribute to that process. We'll have AI filter into agriculture, so that we have predictive models of knowing when should we plant what where. You see,
And by AI, of course, for guys who might be wondering what AI is, artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence. Not artificial insemination. It's artificial intelligence.
Kuna mtu anafikiria
Yes. So now, so we need all those skills, because if we have that value chain, then Kenya, by design, can become a completely agricultural country, including our tourism. Because see, our tourism also really drives our agriculture, because there's an egg. Every tourist will take an egg in the morning.
Yes.
It will consume.
Sausages.
So all that food. So when you look at it very clearly, if we were to integrate and mainstream agriculture at the center, but again, as he's very right, that must come at policy level. It cannot come any other way. And that's why government is there. Government is there to organize its citizens for their better good.
Yes.
That is why government exists. That's why we choose the people we choose, so they organize us for our better good.
All right.
And we give them money in taxes for goods that are public.
Okay.
So that they buy the public good, they put the lights, lights, for purpose of our viewers, a public good, private good. Public good is a good that when you consume, there's still enough, there's still the same amount left for the other person.
Okay.
When you pass under a street light, I don't reduce the light that the next person will get.
Definitely.
We all get the same amount of light. So that
Yes.
is a public good.
Okay.
So those are the goods that government buys. A road. So what you're saying is if government can organize this better.
Yeah.
If we can use our resources that we pay as taxes better.
All right.
Then what will happen? The environment will become better. Like what that guy said. If the playing field is levelized.
Yes.
If we give concessions to guys who are starting, we don't have to put through and starting SME as a corporate. The same way we tax a corporate.
Yeah.
The taxes can be different, because what we are saying, let's forego taxes from these SMEs today, so that we tax them heavily
when they become
in 10
corporate.
years. But now, if we want to eat the seed, then what will grow?
The harvest will die.
Now that we've spoken about agriculture, it being 80%, blah, 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 what are these other 20% things that we can get into? Because there's someone, okay, fine. I mean, it sounds amazing. The whole value chain thing sounds amazing. But there's someone whose passion is not in agriculture at all. What else can they do?
But if 80% of us was in agriculture, then that means we'll be importing labor for the other jobs, because the 20% will not be enough.
Yeah.
That is a fact. And that's what we want to get to. We want to get to a point where our production processes demand so much labor in terms of human capital that we have to bring in labor. That's where we want to go, because our universities are churning so many people. But again, what are they learning in university? Are we just taking people through? Because people nowadays go to university for papers, not for knowledge. You see? Because you'll engage somebody who has gone through campus, and it amazes you some of the things they don't know.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault, it's a systemic fault. But again, now that we're changing our education system to the CBC, let's wait and see how it looks like when it goes up, because it looks very promising. Okay. Because when you have everybody running on their lane, then we'll have some of these problems are going to go away. But unfortunately, they'll not go away tomorrow. So we still have to deal with it.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to chime in, because I'm in the field of tech, and I think that's one of the areas that is basically wide open to provide jobs.
There are opportunities in tech. Yes. Jobs or entrepreneurship? Or both?
You start with the job first.
Okay.
Before you're in, because if it's a new thing and then you're also doing it as an entrepreneur, you're trying to shoot multiple moving targets at the same time. You'd rather do the service first, get really good at it to the point where you see the the blanks, the gaps that exist in that particular field, and then you can craft something that you call yourself an entrepreneur, and that's the solution that you provide.
Yeah.
But to, so you mentioned something about it's not, the farming is not my passion. I think passion is a blessing that not everyone must have in order to have a meaningful life.
Okay.
Yes. Look, if you have a child, you will do anything necessary to feed that child.
True.
If it's washing a toilet, I don't think there's anyone who's passionate about washing toilets. But we have janitors and we have people who clean toilets because they have to do it to survive. And it's the only thing that's available to them. So we have to start there, where you don't sit on this high horse of self-actualization in your 20s.
Yes.
Just do what's available. So forget, if you have passion, well and good. If you don't find what you're passionate about, do what you can where you are. Like, that's where you have to start.
All right.
But
So
then
in tech, what are we looking at? For example, what can I do
Yeah.
in tech? If I have this money that I want to invest in tech, what would you advise me to go for?
There's a lot of learning that you can get for free online. I'm in my line of business because I taught myself online. This was 11 years ago. I wasn't even in high school yet. By the time I was in second year, Nation Media Group was a client of the company that me and my fellow young people had started. Even right now, the average age of my workforce is 30.2 years. And
30 years.
30.2
Okay,
years,
30.2,
yes.
okay.
And yet we've been in existence for 11 years now. So you see, you can actually do something even from a very young age because the resources are there. It's sad that I think more than 80%, no, more than 75% of Kenyan internet traffic is what? Guess it.
Social media?
Porn.
75%
More than
traffic.
75% of bundles.
You guys are just watching
spent
naked
on
people.
Adult content.
Okay.
Which is very sad. So you literally have the opportunity to learn absolutely anything, and yet our baser instincts are what we are spending time on. So I think there's a lot of opportunity in terms of two things: design and engineering, and then a little bit of content management or social media management. So from the design standpoint, many of the companies that need to communicate their ideas have to do it visually more than orally.
Yeah.
So designers have quite a niche. For engineering, in terms of writing code, whether that's Android, iOS, web, HTML, CSS, those things.
Yeah.
There's actually, globally speaking,
So developing apps and stuff.
so it's weird that it's inverse. The supply demand for technology in terms of writing code,
Yeah.
it is undersubscribed by 95%. Like literally all of the developers in the world right now provide 5% of what's needed to actually understand the data that is out there to create the products that people want to use on a daily basis to make our processes more efficient. So it's a huge field to be able to go into. So design, engineering, and user experience, content management, that sort of thing.
Frida.
I'll jump in quickly on what kind of other jobs. I know we said agriculture, tech, convenience type things. Convenience type things because I'm a stickler for passion, of course.
All right.
The things that you may be passionate about that somebody else needs, but they need it in a convenient way.
All right.
All right. Come and do my hair at home, come and do my nails at home.
Deliver stuff.
Deliver stuff, you know, those kinds of things, especially because of traffic. So how can you use that and couple it up with internet, you know, and make it digital so that, because the age we are in, people want convenience. They don't want to spend a lot of time on the road, you know, and the traffic is there with us to stay. So thinking through what are the things that you love to do that people need, all right? Because that's the biggest, you know, how can I say, the biggest pitfall about passion is we just go about what we love to do, but we forget the other side of the coin. Who cares? All right. So if we can find what I love to do and Mbuvi needs it, and there's enough Mbuvis who are going to pay for it, because you see, then that is what I get into. And you see, you can have pockets of money from different, you know, from different things like that. So what they call the gig economy. So I like that he said that cleaning, you may not be passionate about cleaning. So passion from my standpoint is not just what you enjoy doing,
Okay.
but it is that thing that you enjoy doing that is solving a problem for somebody else.
Okay.
So you may not like cleaning the bathroom, but you like cleanliness. All right, so you've started a cleaning company and you're going to employ other people who have to do what they can do so that we can get this place clean.
All right.
So there are multiple things that go into it, but just looking around and seeing what are people complaining about all the time, all right? In December, and then they're going to be seasonal. In December, we know that house helps go home.
Yeah.
And then in January, the biggest complaint, most of them don't come back.
Yeah.
So you can have a place where you can have a convenience service for nannies.
Yeah.
For one, the nanny who went home, because like in December, I live with my granddaughter. Even though our house help, comes and goes, in December we must get another one because I'm still not going to be able to run around.
Maybe the one that you want me to get also went away. But guys, thank you very much. Abraham as well. Thank you very much for your insight. Frida, asante na sana.
Karibu.
Houston has given us a very interesting statistic here. And I'm going to ask Jeff Mote and Shiko Kaitani. 75% of our traffic is about, what he has said, adult content. And you guys were on your phone at that corner there. What were you doing? Are you focusing on the 25%
I do not subscribe
or
to
75%?
such, but Jeff, you can take that question.
I was actually reading the paper, but out of all the statistics Houston gave, he only got that one on porn.
Yes.
He spoke about businesses, he spoke about everything else, but that is the one that stood out for
By
him.
the way, he even
It's the most
quoted
recent
a
one.
Bible verse.
And that's the only
had
thing.
just scared a Bible verse. What did he talk about?
What have you been looking at on your
He
phone?
mentioned Jeremiah, Ezekiel,
There's Ecclesiastes,
and
but
Akina John, and
it's okay.
Ecclesiastes.
It's
But
okay.
you know what? We've come to the end of the show. I hope at least you may part something out of that in regards to
Absolutely.
trends you need to look out for.
Wow. Wow. I can see which part of these statistics you're on. Okay, we are done for the day. It's been a great show. We'll be back tomorrow bright and early on K24 this morning.
Yeah.
Remember, do not be a statistic. Do not. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Be the 25%.